Die, die, die. Die, da, 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 da. Do, do, do. Di, do, do. Di, di, do. Da, 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 da. Di, da, da. Di, da, da, da. כי עמך בכל חיים. כי עמך מקור חיים, מקור חיים, ואורך נראה אור. כי עמך מקור חיים. כי עמך מקור חיים, מקור חיים, באורך נראה אור. באורך נראה אור. משוך חסדך ליודך, וצדקתך לאיש לב. משוך חסדך ליודך, וצדקתך לאיש לב. We explained last week this idea that we recognize and identify and acknowledge who is the fountain of life, who is the source of Chaim, of life, and that is God Himself or herself. So when we acknowledge that, then we have the ability to have the flashlight from God, the spotlight, to be able, right? And with your light, we'll be able to really find ourselves, to find the answer, to find where we are. But have in mind something very important that I learned last week, that light doesn't recognize, light is energy, so doesn't recognize whether you are evil or your intentions are evil or your intentions are good. the explanation that I heard from Javier Wolkoff from Argentina is that you just think about an outlet. So you can put in an outlet something that is going to save lives, right? Like a respiratory. And you can also put in the same outlet and it will take the same energy, right? To put an electric chair that will probably kill someone who did something wrong. So the light will follow your directions. So light is power, light is energy. So if your intentions are bad intentions, the light would not discern. Light would not say, oh, no, you're doing the wrong thing, then I'm going to shut off. Okay? Light will follow you, right? If you're at the end of a cliff and that's what you see, then light will go there. And the worst of these things is that that's all you see, right? Because that's the light you have. If you look at the other side, if you look back, you don't have light there. You have light where you purposely are. You'll have light and spotlighted, where you're moving towards to. So always it's so important that even when you ask for light, when you try to connect and you ask for SOS, help for light, be sure also your intentions are in the right place. You'll get light. So this is something I learned last week, and I wanted to share also with you. And this week's parasha, it's very poignant. It's the Parashat Pinjas. So Pinjas was the grandson, one of the grandsons of Aaron, the high priest. Aaron, just in case, was the brother of Moses. And all the sons of Aaron, they all became priests. So Aaron is the high priest, and then everyone else is, branching off from Aaron. So one of the sons of Aaron is Eleazar, and one of the sons of Eleazar is Pinjas. So you might remember from last week, we have all this issue of Bilam trying to curse us, this witch, this magician, this evil prophet, and he couldn't curse us, he blesses us. But at the end of the parasha of last week, and we got an episode where Bilam tried something different, which is not with his mouth, but he purposely tries and tried to deceive the Jewish people, or at least to entice, the Israelites into the women of Moab and the Canaanites, and just bringing kind of the prostitutes of the other city into try to entice the men into having sexual relationships and what we'll call fornication, right? So unfortunately, this goes so wrong, and one of the big people from the big tribes is, one of the chief of the big tribes is Zimri, who is from the tribe of Shimon, of the tribe of Simon, and he kind of sets the example of what not to do. This is also something for us all to have in mind, to learn, okay, what's going on here, right? We think that when we do something, right, we think that it's just for ourselves, or we did something wrong, so the only ones who care about it is us. But there are always people watching you. There are always people watching. You don't have to be a leader like Moses. You don't have to be a rabbi. You don't have to be a cantor, spiritual leader. You don't have to be the president of the nation. You are your own leader among your people. So whether you're a parent, whether you're a sibling, whether you are a son or a daughter, whether you're a spouse, whether you're an uncle, aunt, grandmother or grandfather, it doesn't matter which relationship, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a student. Every time that you do something, everyone else is seeing. Someone is watching you. And you might not even notice. You might not even know even ever in your life. sometimes even 30 years after we've, past the time, then that person says, I remember when you used to do that. That's why I became a doctor, right? So you can set always a great example, but at the same time, you can also be a bad example. Zimbri was not one of those good examples when he started to have, when he got deceived. When I say got deceived, it's not he was deceived by Bilam. He was not deceived by the woman that he was laying with. I mean, he got deceived in his soul, right? This idea of the lie that we just said, right? He got the lie that actually that was the right thing to do. And he asked for light. He got there. That was all he saw. So he was kind of like the horses, kind of blinded in a way. And we talked about last week about being blinded. And so he set the sample, and then 24,000 people died because of his actions, because they followed what Shimon as a leader did. They thought it was okay. If he did it, then it was okay. Maybe some, like I would imagine, some probably had some zechon, some light in that moment, was not blinded. And he decided to say, no, even if he's my leader, I don't have to follow him. I don't think actually it's right what he's doing. So all that's to say, that then Pinchas, in a way, because Shimon is, let me just read for you that last part of the parasha, because that will get us into this parasha better. So, so it was just the one of the Israelites came and brought a Midianite woman over his companions, right? And in the sight of Moses and on the whole Israelite community, who were weeping at the entrance of the tent of the meeting. That means actually they were having relationships, sexual relationship, like in front of everyone. Like that's the common thing to do. And also was with a Midianite prostitute, which is not probably what they were supposed to do, right? We know that. So when Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, saw this, he left the assembly and taking a spear in his hand, he followed the Israelite into the chamber and stopped both of them, the Israelite and the woman, he stopped them through the belly, kind of like, oh. And then the plague against the Israelites was checked. That means actually ceased. That's the end of the last parasha. And then they say those who died under the plague, number 24,000. So now the beginning of the parasha says the following, and this is the focus of today. God spoke to Moses saying, Pinchas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, has turned back my wrath, right, my anger, from the Israelites by displaying among them his passion for me, or his jealousy for me, so that I did not wipe out the Israelite people in my passion or in my jealousy. And then he says, say, therefore I grant him my pact of friendship. There's a lot of discussions and there's a lot of arguments and a lot of, you can imagine, right? I mean, in our eyes, he killed, right? And he murdered someone. And in God's hands, he's giving kind of a reward. So in our eyes, we see that he's getting a reward from doing this. And in a way, God is saying he didn't do it for his anger, right? God doesn't say Pinchas did it because of his anger. He did it on his own intention, on own selfishness. God says perfectly here, right? It says, Ba et kinati, right? It means actually kind of my jealousy, my vengeance, my passion. So God rewards Pinchas in a way, whether we understand it or not. We're not going to go so far today on this. But apparently, God is satisfied. There are other, the other rabbis in the Middle Ages, especially mystical rabbis, who said that actually Pinchas died and then his soul was replaced by the souls of the two sons, the other two grandsons, the two sons of Aaron, who died back in another Parshiot, and those are two souls kind of like got into Pinchas' soul. We're not going to get so much now into that, but this kind of a response to this kind of like puzzle that we have. Like, I mean, how come actually he murdered? And that's a mitzvah not, I mean, it's a negative mitzvah not to murder. And all of a sudden, he gets rewarded. So the mystics, say, yeah, he died. But at the same time, he was reincarnated right away with these two souls. Okay, we'll leave it there because it's a big discussion from the Zohar. And so what I want to read you something from, so this is our episode. This is what we have. This is what I want to focus on in order to talk about anger, jealousy and anger. And so it's interesting, that the word that is used here is the word kina, right? It's told, like 3 different times. So it says, Bekano et kinati betocham velo chiliti et bnei Israel bekinati. So it's mentioned 3 times. And so they're going to talk to us, about the 3 different types of anger that we can get. And we'll have time just to do certain things. Of course, we have only a few, less than an hour. And but one of the things that they're talking about is, let's talk about tachlis, about this idea of jealousy. And anyone who is in the room, in the Zoom room, would like to get your take of what is jealousy and what jealousy can create. Anyone can open the mic if you want. And what is jealousy? And what does jealousy can create and lead us to? Anyone in the room? Luisa, Ivana, Tamar.
Hi, this is Ivana. Well,
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Ivana.
It's something, jealousy, means something that you want that you don't have. It could be very subtle, that it's just you're thinking, oh, I wish I had this, which is not bad to wish to have something, but what is inside, is it like, I'm so mad that this person has it and I don't. I think that's where it gets wrong, and it can, grow and make you sick, make you, do things that you don't want to do, or say things. I don't know. I guess it can be something really small, but it can really grow fast if you don't address it fast.
Do you think that jealousy can get into anger?
I think so, because some people there might be something that you want, let's say a promotion at work, and you're working hard, right? And you see someone that is, well, based on your reasoning and understanding, you think that person is not working as hard as you are, and suddenly that other person gets the promotion and you don't. I think the person will obviously get mad and be like, why is that person getting what I should be getting and not me? Then you get mad because you're thinking you did better. You're the one who should have gotten the promotion. And yeah, definitely will make you mad, and then probably sad, even depressed, if you don't take care of it. I don't know, it could make you do things that you don't really want to do. Like with this example at work, you could start doing not much anymore, not caring. And that, of course, affects not only your performance at job, at your work, but also at home. You get home, you're mad, you're upset. So it could affect you in all areas, I think.
Okay, so it seems also that jealousy, the way you put it, like wanted something that the other one has. It seems also to me that it touches also this idea of ungratefulness. right?
Yep.
I mean, because in the Pirkei Avot, we know that it says, is the hu ashir, right? Asameach v'chelko. It says who is the one who is happy. It doesn't say, who has the one who has a lot of money. It doesn't say, it says the one who is content or contented with his portion. So you got a portion, and that's what you got, and you believe that those are the blessings from God, right? And that will always lead you to be content and to be happy and to be glad that you have what you have. You count those as blessings. Then you won't want the pieces or the portions of others. And when you start wanting, right, ambition, the portion of others, but what you don't have, then it's like what you say, you can get into jealousy. And they can get into anger. Why didn't I get it? Like Ivana was saying. And some rabbis, some sages says that anger is like idolatry. In which way? Because if you think about what we just say, who is happy? The ones who, who's content with what he has, the portion that he got from God. This is what I got, at least in this reincarnation, this life, right? In this world, this is where I have, and I should be happy with that. God gave me that. This is my blessing, right? If at the point that you actually get angry for something you don't have, it's almost like you are defying God. You are defying in a way. Think about it. I mean, it's not it's not something that is easy to digest sometimes. But same thing with the situation. You might be actually driving a car, and then all of a sudden, there is a big traffic, big line, and then what do you do with that, right? You have a big line, you have and it's traffic, and then the typical thing is like protest. And after you protest, then you start hanging, with the hang. And then all of a sudden, the one behind you says, move, move, move. And then all of a sudden, you just stick out your finger, and then you start insulting, and then you get mad, and then you say, I cannot believe this, or this guy and this traffic, just ruined my day. Because things don't go in the way you want it, right? Because part of being jealous and angry, and I will see how they are connected, those two words, has to do with not controlling, not being able to control. So here we identify that controlling is a big thing. I want to control what I have. I want to get that position. I want to get more money. I want to have 5 children. I want, right? I want, almost like a little kid. I want, and I want. And then if we don't, we just throw a tantrum. And a tantrum in different ages, can be different things. And sometimes you want something that you can control, or you think you can control the other person, then you throw a tantrum. And then because you don't, as a parent, with a little kid, there are different ways to manage that. When you are an adult, maybe a little different, right? So those are also relationships, because what happens when you get angry also is not probably the best for a relationship. Now, let me read you something from written by Rebbetzin Hannah Bracha Siegelbaum. And she writes the following. The word kina, this word that we just mentioned, that is sometimes translated as passion in this, what I was reading, sometimes it's translated as jealousy, sometimes kind of like vengeance or even anger. Usually translated as jealousy, it's also linked to judgment and anger. The root of this word, mentioned 3 times in the opening verse of Parashat Pinjas, as we just read it, alludes to 3 aspects of anger. So listen well. Anger, jealousy, and vengeance. Anger, jealousy, and vengeance. So by avenging Bekano, my jealousy, kinati, and velo hiliti et bnei Israel bekinati. So even if the same root is the same word, the interpretation here has to do that the reason that it's written 3 times is because anger has 3 different levels, right? There are three different aspects of this behavior. The first one is anger, the second one is jealousy, and the third is vengeance. So then it says again, Bekano, by avenging, Kinati, my jealousy, and then I did not destroy the children of Israel in my judgment, right? So, hi Denise.
Hi, Cantor.
How are you? So the numerical value, and you know that the mystics are very into the gematria and playing with numbers. And today we're going to play with numbers, and they're cool. So wait until the end because you don't want to miss the end of this. The numerical value of the root kin'a is kuf nun aleph. For those who Hebrew is not so visual, then look it up. It's kuf, the letter kuf, which is 200, the letter nun, which is 50, and the letter aleph, which is 1. So altogether is 151. Equals the name, one of the name of God. And this name of God is the one that God presents himself or herself to Moses. When Moses says, when they ask me who you are, I mean, who are you? What should I say? Right? And he comes with this idea of Heye Asher Ekyeh. So, but it's not just that it equals to specifically just to that number. Let me, just to that name, just the 4 letters themselves, but specifically they value when you spell out each of the letters of that name. So if Hey, you write it Aleph Hey, Yud Hey, right? Then Aleph, you need to spell it out. So you have to say Aleph. So Aleph, the letter Aleph is written with the Aleph, a Lamed, and a Fe, right? That's meaning to spell out each of these letters. So I want to show you, let me see if I can share a screen here so you understand what I'm trying to say. Let me see. Hopefully I can share screen. Okay, here we are. So if you see here, can you see? Not yet. Okay, you see? That's the Aleph. Spell it out. Is Aleph, Lamed, Pei. If you have to spell out the Hey, you spell it with a Hey and a Hey, right? The Yud spelled out is Yud Vav Dalet. And the Hey spelled out is Hey, Hey again. All that together is also 151. Okay? So the same, just bear in mind, 151. This is the number we are talking today. So when you have that spelled out, it has a correspondence with this word kin'a, or the root. When you say the root in Hebrew, the root of the word is the 3 letters that each word in Hebrew is composed by 3-letter roots, sometimes 2 or 4, but mainly 3-letter roots. Again, kuf, nun, aleph from the word kin'a is 151. And this is connected with the spelled out of the 4 letters of God's name, Ehyeh. Okay, so what do we learn from this? First, some little things. Now, listen to this. So meditating on this name, this is the Arizal. The Arizal was Rabbi Isaac Luria from Middle Ages in the city of Tzfat. He created what is called the Lurian Kabbalah, and it has been followed until even today. And he wrote, beautiful things. And as far as those things that he wrote, in his Sha'ar Apsukim, he wrote like the different gates of something, the gates of this, the gates of that, the gates of dreams, and the gates of this and that. And so in the gates of Psukim, about Parashat Pinjas, about this parasha, he writes the following. He writes remedies. These rabbis, when they were trying to connect different things within the tradition, sometimes they say, okay, the Kabbalah is not just about this. Some people have this idea the Kabbalah is just the magic thing, right? No, Kabbalah has to be applied. It cannot be just in the air, just studying numbers and studying, connections. If you don't work on yourself and the Kabbalah is not allowing you, to apply to yourself and to the relationship with the world, the creation and others, it doesn't really work so well. So the whole idea is to really work on yourself. So the Arizal was proposing remedies. The same thing, the Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, later on, almost 250 years, after that, he continued talking about remedies, kind of like, an antidote of how to deal with anger and jealousy. So, and we're going to talk about that. So the Arizal recommends meditating on this name, right, on this specific name. And when one gets angry, to meditate during the morning on the name that we just mentioned, spelled out as mentioned above. He also, the Arizal, reveals that the numerical value of the name Kina, which I said before is 151, but also not only equals to the spelled out of that God's name, but also equals to the Hebrew word ka'as. And ka'as is anger. There are different ways to get the number. Sometimes you get the numerical value, just with the letters. Sometimes you do this spelled out. There are different games around it. And the word ka'as by itself is not 151, it's 150. But when you add what is called kolel, you add what is it called? When you include the counting of the word itself, it becomes 151, right? So it's the 3 letters per se, plus the word itself counts as one as well. And they come with this idea. Sometimes they have to play so much, with the numbers to come out with something, but we don't get into, oh my God, I can do that too, right? We get into the idea of what they're trying to say, right? There's a relationship with the word kan'a. There's a relationship with this name. He thinks that this might be one of the remedies to meditate on this name. And with the word ka'as, which means to be, anger. And now, here are more things that are very interesting and numerical. So, continues the Rabbi-Cantor Hannah Bracha Siegelbaum. She says the following: the 3 aspects of vengeance that we were talking about, anger, jealousy, and vengeance, are alluded to one verse in the Song of Songs, written by or accredited to the King Solomon. So what is this verse from the Song of Songs? Is the following: I descended to the garden of nuts. That's what it says. I descended to the garden of nuts. You want to look it up later. This is in Song of Songs, chapter 6, verse 11. Now, the numerical value of the word for garden of, ginat, gimel nun taf, is 453, which is 3 times 151. I love your face, Denise, right? Yes, right. It's like, wow. Okay, now why would we get into this? The nut, right? The nut, which is the dried fruit, actually has 3 husks or shells, right? 3 klipot. The outer soft shell that disintegrates when the nut is ripe, the hard outer shell, and then the soft inner peel that adheres to the nut itself. In order to reveal the inner goodness of the soul, we must discard each of the shells, each of these kinot, right? Of these kina, we would say, the anger, the jealousy, and the vengeance. Learning not to judge others is the most difficult aspect of the kina. Repeat, learning, and I repeat it to myself, okay? Learning not to judge others is the most difficult aspect of kina. It is characterized by the inner peel, which we usually eat together with the nut. Although, she says, I didn't find in the Arizal's writing, in the Rabbi Luria's writing, explicit differentiation between each of the 3 aspects of kina, of these levels, anger, jealousy, and vengeance. It seems to me that the outer aspect is anger. Going deeper into the anger, one arrives to jealousy. And underneath with the negative emotions of being overly judgmental is situated. It's an interesting thing to work on. So how the numbers, values arrives into different directions is a very, very interesting, because that's the way they like to explain, and they feel, there's a feeling, that everything is connected in the world. The problem is when we start disconnecting, we think that we are unique and we have nothing to do with this or with that, or even with the creation of the plants and the animals and everything in the world. So we are all connecting in different ways. I want to read some things about anger that come from this amazing book. You can see there, right? Okay, so it's called Anger, the Inner Teacher, a 9-step program to free yourself from anger. It's from Rabbi Zelig Pliskin. I want to read some few things from here, and then we're going to do a little meditation just to conclude. It's all food for thought. It can be forever talking about this. At times, I suffer from anger myself more often than I want to, and even if I look like a cool person, sometimes I lose the cool, like a lot of people. So the Vilna Gaon, the Gaon of Vilna, considers anger one of the two main traits which prevent a person from serving the Almighty, from serving God. Does an obligation to conquer anger mean that the Torah wants us to cut off our real feelings, right? Because sometimes people might have that feeling that, okay, I don't have to get angry, right? So definitely no. Without emotions, we cannot experience passion for Torah and prayer, love for our Creator and other people, nor sincere joy in mitzvah performance. Another quote. Rabbi Yosef Leib Bloch of Tels emphasizes in his shiurei that our Creator created us to experience each feeling honestly and intensely. To be a complete person, one needs to experience anger at times. It would be wrong to try to completely eradicate any quality bestowed upon us by our Creator. The Rambam, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimonides, comments the following: don't be a bad-tempered person who becomes angry easily. Neither should you be like a corpse that doesn't feel anything. Rather, be in the middle. I always talking about looking for equilibrium and balance. Don't become angry except over a serious matter, in order to prevent a person from acting similarly another time, right? If you become for little things, there is a resident from Miami, who speaks very often, a great motivator and teacher, is Gedale Fenster, and he says that we humans have the tendency to major in minor things. I love that phrase, major in minor things. I am one of those, I tell you. I major in minor things. Every time a little less, but I don't know how and why, but sometimes I do. So think about whether you will have the same thing or not. Major in minor things. So the Rambam also states that ideally parents and other leaders should feign anger when they must rebuke while inwardly remaining calm. What he's saying here is very interesting, right? Rambam says that ideally parents and other leaders, if you're a teacher, you need to rebuke. Rebuke is important. You have to rebuke. And another day we'll talk about, the importance of rebuke. But, how you do it is a different way. It says that actually you have to fake your anger in a way, right? You have to do it, remain calm. You cannot really react with your impulsive and with impulse, and with real anger. When you're rebuking your child, when you're rebuking a colleague, or you are rebuking anyone, right, for something you see is wrong, it's a mitzvah to do it. You have to do it. You cannot actually be like, oh, I didn't see anything. But you have to, they're teaching you how to do it. First, don't get angry. You have to remain calm. You see, like those parents say, if you don't do that, I'm going to, and then they just turn around, to the spouse and they laugh. I mean, because they kind of fake it, they act it out. right? That's kind of what is understanding underneath here. Anger is like salt. In small amounts, it enhances, but too much can spoil, right? So always looking for that medium. So in other words, they're not saying you need to say, okay, like eating your anger, right? Because one day you'll explode. And it says, and also not being like crazy, like becoming Hulk and, the Incredible and then explode, but to look for the medium ground. Even people who are seriously motivated to conquer anger often fall into the trap of denying that their angry feeling exists. So denying your anger is not good. Your frustrations you have to let them out. How you let them out is the big thing. Denying anger can cause muscular aches and pains or other psychosomatic problems. Holding back denied anger often causes blow-ups when the pressure builds up to the bursting point. That's what we said before. Unfairness and injustice is unacceptable, right, in our lives. And in all those situations, one needs to think clearly and choose the wisest course of action. Angry feelings are, by their nature, often out of our control. Yet, our choice of words and actions are always under our control. Now, Maimonides comes back and he writes all this in Hot Deot. He has a whole chapter of this and tells us that when another person wrongs us, it is improper to just remain silent and feel animosity. We are instead supposed to speak up and talk to the person, but we need to do so with dignity and respect. Anger brings untold suffering in its wake. So what is wrong with anger, says Rabbi Pliskin? Anger prevents clear thinking. And we know from stories from Moshe, when he got angry, he lost it. He lost all the Torah. He lost it. Every time he got angry, he lost it. And leads to many mistakes, at times serious ones. Anger provokes impulsive behavior, getting people to say and do things they later regret. For this reason, Jacob, our forefather, cursed the anger of his sons Shimon and Levi. If you remember when they avenged, they wanted to avenge, their sister when she was raped, and they waited for everyone who was circumcised and then killed them all. Their anger led to bloodshed. So these are just examples. Anger can easily lead to bitter arguments and quarrels. Many people have left good jobs in a fit of anger, pushing and shoving others, hitting, kicking, and even biting all the products of anger. The injuries and damage caused by anger are both physical and emotional. Physical wounds eventually heal. Many emotional wounds never do. And there are many stories from here. And by consistently, he has a solution, which is his book himself. And I want to quote something from the book of Proverbs. He who is slow to anger is better than a strong man, and a master of his passions is better than a conqueror of a city. And also we know from Pirkei Avot, it says, who is strong, who is brave, the one who controls his passions. Not the one who can break a door. It's not the one who can punch you in the face. It's the one who can control his passions. This clearly tells us that being slow to anger takes effort. People are disturbed, people are perverts, and I can get angry, and then we all like, how is it happening? Like, but my wife always reminds me of something that it's very important. It says, depends on the level of anger that you have and how much time you spend on it and how much energy you really dedicate to this is really the amount of love you have for yourself. In other words, everything really, the antidote of, aside from the letters from the Arizal, and we can meditate, everything comes to number one mitzvah, which is to love yourself, take care of yourself. If anger is going to take and it's going to poison you and it's going to really make you spend so much time, your life is precious. And also something that she says is, no one can give you back the missed seconds, the missed minutes. Time cannot get back. So all the time you spend on getting mad, upset, disappointed, when you cannot even control it, or you think you can control it, then it really comes to the level of love for your own self. And I think that's the big lesson here. If you really love yourself, continue with your route. Especially with people, this reminds me of people who are watching a soccer game and they're like, I cannot believe that he missed the goal, right? I mean, it's like, and people get really, passionate and angry. Or you're looking like a soap opera and saying, don't kiss him, he's going to betray you. He has a mistress, right? I mean, like, and you're from home and you're like really thinking, you can control what's happening in that soap opera, that Netflix, episode at that moment, right? Maybe that's what they want to create on you. But there are things we cannot control. Look at how many people are not using masks out there, and then you can understand. You can say, look, there's a lot of people who are responsible. They're not looking masks out there. I prefer not to go out because I prefer not to go to those places where these people are actually not really following the rules of the CDC. But another thing is to say, I cannot believe, that these people, I'm in this restaurant, then don't go, right? Don't go. But if you're going to go and you're going to be pissed off and you're going to get mad, just don't go. Okay, make yourself a favor. Love yourself. And I say this because it happens to me often. So this is a good, it's a good subject for me. As I'm saying it to myself too. Don't think that I don't go through this. Okay, everyone does, but I am myself the first one who is telling you yes. Okay. My mother calls me sometimes. She says things I don't like, and then I explode. And so if you want to really try yourself, and you want to try your level of anger, and you can put those people who usually kind of pinch you on things, so they tell you things you don't like, and then you can try out from there. Now I will ask everyone who's there, if you feel comfortable, I'm going to go through a little meditation and we're going to conclude with this. And there's so much to talk about, but I think it's a good subject for Shabbat, both to work on it if you are alone, both to even discuss at home, and it's important to teach yourself and to teach others, especially if you're a parent, how to channel the anger. As it says here in the book, Rambam and all these rabbis, they don't say you cannot get angry. You cannot frustrate and say, like people ask you sometimes, did that bother you? And you're like trying to play angel and say, no, not at all. No, and inside you is like fire, right? And you're trying to kind of pass away that, and you can't. That's not good. That's not healthy. So it's good to say, look, what's your frustration? Like in a couples, right? Or a son and a daughter, and a father, a parent, and a child. So what's going on? Well, I thought about this. And then the first thing, of course, if you want to be a good listener, don't answer, right? It's not about you. It's about their frustration. It's not all about you. So don't get mad about what they say. Yes, because you told me that this and that you didn't allow me to do this and that. And then the parent goes usually, oh, but you understand that actually, and then the kid shut off. Shut off because you're not listening. You're just trying to answer their. So it's good to be a good listener and just let people, if you to help people, then you hopefully that you will be helped by others to be listened and heard. It's so important to let your frustration out. If you don't have anyone to talk to, a great exercise, great exercise. Write it out. Write, and write it many times, and write until you get tired, and until you get your tears out. Right? All that anger, write it. Some people like to go to swim. That's okay, go swim, just that. But the good things about writing is that actually you let all the feelings out. It's not just the energy, the physical energy, it's also the emotional that gets out. So it's a good exercise to really trying to get into the idea of writing. It's a very good exercise. It's a good that actually yesterday was 17th of Tammuz, and which is the it's 17th of Tammuz. Yesterday was a fast day, right? And today is the first day of, or the second day of the 3 weeks, the 3 weeks period that, according to Judaism, are very sad, right? Because they broke the bridge, they sieged the city originally, from in Jerusalem, and 3 weeks after is the 9th of Av, and the temple was destroyed. So we kind of mourn already until that day, and there's a lot of restrictions, things we don't do. But one of the things we do is really the idea of ahavat, tikkun ahava, right? The whole idea to refute, to turn 180 degrees, right? Anger, sadness, hatred is using the opposite, which is everything. The opposite of all that is love. Anger, if you love yourself, if you love others, there's no way, right? If you love God, why would you get angry? The same thing happens also with hatred, right? Because anger also can come into hatred. So it's so important that we do a tikkun. Tikkun is repair, and ahava is love. So important. Ahava also, because we're playing with numbers, the numerical value of ahava is the number 13. And the word echad, as we say in the Shema, that God is one, echad, is also number 13. So it's so important, as you can see, that when we have 13 and 13, like we have love with the one, with God, we have 26, right? 13 plus 13 is 26. And 26, believe it or not, is the numerical value of the other name of God that represents loving kindness, chesed, which is the Yud Ke Vav Ke. The one that when we see it, we usually say Adonai, right? When we see it, that's the tetragrammaton, the 4 letters that we don't know how to really pronounce it. So that's what we need, unity, not only just with God, within the Chad. We need the whole world to be a Chad. Because remember, when we talk in other sessions, that we were a Chad once. We were Adam Arishon. We were once that big piece of oneness, scattered around the world, and each of us have a piece of that one big creation. So when I don't take care of you, and I don't take care of you, and I judge you, I am judging myself. And remember, when you point with the finger, it's 1 to them and 3 to you, right? If I love them, I will love myself also more. If I hate them, I have 3 against me. People are our mirrors. People are our reflections. What I don't like about this one is what really I don't want to accept I don't like about me. If I'm jealous, right, it's a whole reflection also of other people. So important that we do tikkun ahava during these 3 weeks. And anger and hatred and jealousy and vengeance is not acceptable when we really want to do a repair, a fix of ahava, of love. So I think it's important that we work on this. And if I will invite you to just get comfortable, where you are. Open up your legs, don't cross anything in your body, because your body will allow to receive the energy and the light of this exercise. You can put your hands on your lap. I like to put my palms towards up so I can receive light information and channel. Legs are separated. You can be comfortable sitting. And then you're going to start opening your chest as you relax. You're going to take deep breath in. We're going to do it in 4-4 as we did before in the past, where we can take 4 in, we hold 4 times, then we release 4 times, and then we hold again for 4 times. That's the cycle. So ready, go. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, release. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, again in. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, release. 2, 3, 4, and one more time. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, hold. 2, 3, 4. So keep breathing normally right now. And as you tune into remembering the last time you felt jealous and you felt anger, or any particular time that you especially remember of being jealous, generating anger at someone. Jealousy is a combination of fear and anger. Fear of losing something, and anger at someone who seems to be taking away what you feel belongs only to you. So let us recognize and accept those emotions. Tell yourself as you breathe deeply, even if I am jealous, I still truly love and appreciate myself. Tell yourself as you breathe deeply, even if I am jealous, I still truly love and I appreciate myself. Get in touch with and dissect your feelings. Acknowledge them, invite them. Don't reject them. They are your feelings and they are very valid. Ask yourself whether your jealousy consists of more anger or fear, and why. There is more anger, there is more fear, and why. Where in your body exactly does your jealousy reside? Can you identify it? A gripping sensation in your stomach is a sign of fear. Burning tightness in your shoulders is most likely anger. Can you identify? Where does it hurt more? The stomach? The burning tightness in your shoulders? Continue breathing as you exercise. You can relax. Breathe deeply and relax your jaw, shoulders and stomach. Do not allow your face to express jealousy or anger. Keep yourself calm and relaxed. Breathe Identify what your jealousy is teaching you about yourself and the things that are important to you. If someone talking to a friend of yours makes you jealous, personal relationships may be important to you. If you are jealous about money, you may have an underlying need for financial security. That's fear. Ask yourself, why am I jealous over this? What is making me so jealous? What am I trying to keep? Why do I feel threatened? When you begin to understand what makes you jealous, you can begin to take positive steps to remove the cloud of negative emotions that accompanies jealousy, like the nut, to remove the shells. So let's search for underlying false beliefs that make your jealousy flare up. Everyone walks around with negative stories such as, I don't deserve to get married. People only befriend me when they can get something out of me. But you can change your feelings by changing your stories. Those are your stories, and you can change your mind and make them positive stories, positive ideas and attitudes. Choose nurturing and supportive beliefs, and gradually your anger and jealousy will disappear. Continue breathing and remember, inhale and feel how Hashem is always with you. Exhale and feel how he or she provides you with exactly what you need in order to fulfill your mission in life. Look for your own good qualities. Be glad and happy with your portion. Look around what you have, know what you don't have, and transform each person in your life, and each possession you have, and each part of your portion. And visualize the word bracha, the word blessing, and see the light, the white light, shining, glowing around that thing and that person, and the qualities you have. And make a mental list of all the blessings in your life for which you are grateful. Keep breathing, slowly but breathing, and deeply as you thank Hashem, as you thank God for each of His gifts to you. When you emerge from this meditation into real life, when you eventually open your eyes, put on a non-jealous facade, a non-jealous face, while you work on overcoming jealousy, anger, fear, eventually working your way through your feelings. That face will become real. In the meantime, you will protect yourself from appearing jealous to others. Remember to always love yourself If you've never done this exercise, I will invite you right now, as you close your eyes, keep them closed and keep breathing slowly and relaxing, is to put your arms and hug you, to hug yourself really tight, like you will hug someone. Now we cannot hug people. We need masks and we need gloves, and we have to keep social distance, but with ourselves, we don't need that. I know we want so much the hug of the other, but what about hugging yourself? Have you done this before? Have you tried even once? Well, I invite you to this remain and being a daily practice. Hug yourself. Close your eyes. Look at the light you have, the quality, the good things you have, the blessings that surround you, that Hashem gave you. There's no reason to fear. There's no reason to be jealous of what you don't have. Focus on what you have. Focus on your blessings and the love you have to yourself and for yourself forever and ever. Take a deep breath in before we open our eyes. Another one. Hold it. And to conclude, as an additional, how do you feel? I hope you feel okay. It feels good. I see the knees, feels good. The other ones I cannot see there. And I hope over there on Facebook people feel okay as well. And just a good exercise, and do it as many times as you wish. I mean, there is no control, there's no CDC, there is no governor or is government that can tell you you cannot hug yourself, right? If you feel uncomfortable doing it in front of others, just do it on your own when you are alone, right? And so to conclude, I want to tell you that there are an additional way, says the Rabbi-Cantor here, that to overcome jealousy and anger is through immersing into the mikveh. And we talked about the mikveh before in the past. The mikveh doesn't have to be just the mikveh where you go, but if you have the chance even to be in in a space like a lake or even like an ocean, you can immerse in the mikveh into waters of what's called Ma'im Chayim, of waters, fountain of life. The numerical value for the word mikveh, guess what it is? Yeah, 151, which is the same as the word that we say all the time, all through, kina. The word also for ka'as, the word anger, plus the word itself, also 151. So after working on your jealousy and anger as you just did today, and I applaud you for working and be there, and after trying the above meditation, going to the mikveh will work wonders. And the Rabbi-Cantor says, why not try it? If today we cannot go to beaches, so we cannot go to any of life, like waters of Chaim, of life, of real waters. Try even when you are immersing into the showering before Shabbat, right? So be under the water, think that is fountain, that is a waterfall, just meditate on that as you do it, and think about this word 151 and when you're removing your schmutz, right, from your body as you shower, do it with intention, do it with kavanah, do it with consciousness that you want to remove all those shells from that, all the shells of the three levels, right? The jealousy, the anger, the jealousy, and the revenge, all that, and then you get ready for Shabbat, clean and pure, so your soul can shine, and we can have that phase of non-jealousy. I wish Shabbat Shalom to everyone. I hope you got some food for thought, some spirituality to move forward and to move on for preparing for Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. I see you next week.
Thank you, Cantor. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Cantor. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, Denise. Thank you, Ivana. Thank you so much.
See you at tomorrow at services.
Yeah, I'll be there. Just call my name and I'll be there.
See you later, Cantor.